Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment of... Was this and it came from the workbench? Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. Do I remember the number? No. There's too many numbers. They all blend together. It is this guy whom you last saw either in a post where we showed the painted body or when you saw the Ghost Ride. The Eliminator, E-L-E-Minator, the Eliminator, because it's got a very ZZ Top vibe. And we went 1 hour paint job. 1 hour paint job, because this body does not even come with masks. They're just black stickers to go over the windows. So, purple on the bottom, gunmetal on the top. I mean, yeah, come on. Come on. We had to do minimal cutting. It's got the tail lights. It's got the headlights. He's all ready to go. What is he underneath? He is a spidering. Did I show that I built a bracket and 3M taped it to the bottom of the servo? So we've got battery behind servo, and it is just like when we get to full, not a problem here, not a problem here. If we go this, we have that little travel limiter, so it won't over compress in the front on descents. The chassis rails are absolutely cut to ribbons. I kept putting off rebuilding the TRX4 shocks. I just kept putting it off because they still have that stiction. Because what happens is if you go like this and take it out and drive it, it doesn't do it. And they're mounted upside down and they're not leaking, and the damping rate feels pretty good, and I don't have to take anything apart. So I'm just going to continue to rest on that laziness. We don't appear to have any interference between any links, drive shafts, anything. The gearing seems pretty proper, if maybe a hair brisk. He is running, looks like a 13 or 14, probably a 1350. I ordered a 52 because it looks like we have enough room clearance there. But then it was like, you haven't even really driven it, so maybe don't change the spur gear just yet. I like to tuck the balance cable in there so it's not too close to the whirling spurling. I guess most important of note is that I changed the portal gears in the back to the not oft seen 1322s, because I did the math and it didn't have the amount we basically put too much underdrive to the front. So it didn't, the math wasn't mathing. I thought I was going to get 22%, but I didn't. So now I think it's 24%. It's 24 or 25% net rear underdrive. And on top of that is 30% total underdrive to the front. So it's going to bring the overall speed down, though you wouldn't be able to tell. It looks pretty snappy. But the front end is something like 58-1. And the rear is 76-1, something like that. I've already forgotten all the math. I just kept thinking, how can we, in clear conscience, go out there and put scratches on this thing? And then my brain kept reminding me, you don't build shelfers. We don't build shelfers. I took a picture of it, and hopefully the editor will be able to find that picture. We have reinserted the tires. And the reinsertion of the tire is, I'm calling them Rover quads. So on the innermost, we have, yes, we have this guy. This is the inner part of the stock insert that comes in a 2.2 Canyon Trail. This is the outer part that comes on a 2.2 Canyon Trail, and that would not be nearly tall enough. So we don't run this. We run this, and then around that, and mind you, these are not the exact pieces. I just grabbed ones that are already cut. Around that, we run a wrap of our normal 7 to 8 millimeter thick fridge foam, and then around that, we run a layer of this dual density fridge foam, which when you pinch it, the outer is super, super soft. So we run a layer of that outside of it like that. So that is what is inside these tires, the quads, 1, 2, 3, 4, quad density. Although, it is quad density. This green and this teal, aqua, turquoise, the turquoise and lime. The turquoise is a little softer than the lime, just a little bit. So we go soft, medium, very soft, and you know what we haven't done? Driven on it. So we genuinely have no idea what it's going to do. It could be terrible. But what it does do is it stands those rovers up super tall and straight. Because ordinarily the rover, the 2.2 rover, looks like a beach ball. But by doing this, we've basically made the 2.2 rover look like an LP rupture. Because look at these, well, let's see if we can do this. Look at these bad boys next to each other. We've now successfully made a tire that lives, so it goes 1.9 rupture, 2.2 LP rupture, 2.2 rover on rover quads, and then you would go up to the full size rupture. So we've gotten the same sort of bar type tire in now 4 completely different height profiles. Call that 5, because if you take the 1.9 rupture and you put scoric cling inserts in it, it pulls it down to the height of a class 2. It pulls it down to a 4.75. So now we have ruptures in 4.75, 5-inch, 5 1/4, 5 3/8, and then 5 3/4 of the big ones, which is actually like, it's between 5.7 and 5.9 depending on what insert you're running. So we've got 4 different heights to choose from, and that's great. They feel outstanding, and we hope. What we hope is, I messed with the front end. That tire doesn't touch anymore. We might have fixed it. We're gonna get some pirate noises out of this thing. The rear end, I wanted to leave that little bit of fender. I feel like there's something to that little extra bit right there. So it's left there. It's probably gonna pop, bum, bum, bum off of that tire, but we're gonna see. We have not put this thing on the rocks since it was ghost ridden. I am cautiously optimistic because it underwent what is definitely basically a canyon change. The skid on this particular axle, we were building to the body and we were trying to get a wheelbase that would fit under this body. I don't know if any of it is particularly optimized. I wish that skid were further forward and that we had less link in the front and more differential of link in the rear, but we cannot push the rear axle out anymore because of the body. We can't push the front axle out or bring the front axle back because of everything. Like, I basically got the front drive shafts to sit as short as I was comfortable in getting them sitting on this chassis. And this thing was a cut-up. Like, we just threw parts at it to make this out of it, and it seems to be, at least in terms of appearance, loved almost unanimously by the peoples. And I mean, I don't think that they're wrong. Those wheels, that body, man, it's really good. It's really, really good. I could see gunmetal like Traxxas 2660s. That's about all I could see. Putting some big bores on here, I think, would just give it that sleeker look. And again, that would be purely for cosmetics. I don't believe they need to be replaced, except for the times when, like, he just doesn't want to settle. But we have not driven it we made changes. We made changes and we haven't driven it since. So, you know what we'll do now? We'll remedy that and we'll drive it. And we'll see how it does. And there's a part of me that kind of doesn't care how well it does. A bigger part of me does. But a small part of me is like, it's gorgeous. That body sat in a box for a long time and then was just incidentally chosen for this, and it looks so good. So all we need is a level of performance that's up to about 60 or 70% of how good it looks, and we will have an absolute win. So Come with me, will you? And find out, did we luck into beauty and ability? I don't know. I'm not kidding or exaggerating when I say that I love this thing. It is built out of, it is an absolute hobgoblin of parts. Because of Element's decisions with that rear axle, this thing is a cocaine spider. It cannot go in a straight line, and you can't correct it. It's not trim. It will drive wherever it feels like, because we've gotten us to about that 25% rear underdrive. What happens is the rear tires, while rotating, you know how every once in a while it's really difficult to get a tire to stay straight on the beadlock? Tire's got that little bit of sideways wobble or waver to it. Well, these tires and inserts have not been driven yet, so they haven't really gotten to know each other. So one of the rear tires will kind of wander off to one side, and then the rig will go, oh, you want to go that way? Whee! And it will, it will leap to that side. It won't just drift. It will all of a sudden hop sideways, and then it will kind of crab walk back the other way. It is wild to watch this thing in operation. Luckily, it is a crawler, so most of the time we spend going very slow. Oh yeah, okay. Also, this absolutely must be pointed out. And right there, something about the look from the behind, it's got a very spider look to it. The Eliminator, the Element, even on that descent backwards, it was like, the turning circle. We talk about turning circle, right? Okay, so we'll use the Slick Rock sign, right? We'll come along this side right here, and then we'll just go to lock. This thing's got a 3-foot turning circle. And now that I see it, now with its little eyes, oh, it's very spider-like. Oh, those white Rovers, they like them some low-speed input. It honestly feels like I need to recalibrate the radio to the speed control, because we're feeling a little chugga at the very, very low. Most rigs aren't comfortable going this low. I know he's the Eliminator, but my goodness, he's very spidery. He's very spidery in appearance and ability. Pushed a little wide there. What has continued through, what has persevered through changes, it doesn't feel like a mullet at all. It just feels like straight axles that have a tremendous amount of clearance. I'm hoping that the camera is catching that shot in between the passenger side tires as you look under them, where there's just a massive opening. Yeah, the steering is really sharp. And he's pretty wide. Oh yeah, okay, all right. Canyon custom quads. I mean, are we done? Are we done? Are we done? We might be done. It needs some little tweaks. It needs some cosmetic foofery. Stability brought about not by anything other than width and Rovers. My gracious. That is the correct amount of underdrive for this guy. And as usual, we do not waste so that we do not want. That is Ghost Rover, aka Gate Rover's old front axle. So that front axle with the weights, with the SSD knuckles, has been in 3 builds now. And they have their forever home now, for sure. Oh, man. He's real spidery. He's real spidery. I don't know. And you notice the body is sitting super low now. As soon as those GTS get out here and they get cycled, they work fine. And I feel like the bodies of those GTS are definitely close enough in color. Oh, there's that part of me that's like, put some big bores on it. And then the other part of me is like, you're spending $60 for absolutely no reason. This thing does not need a shock change. I don't know if this thing needs an anything change. Not nearly. And you know what? I don't think the rear tires are rubbing at all. I think the only sound we're getting is shock spring hitting in the front. And at that, it's not even doing it a lot. Let's go the wide left. Oh, man. That's mullet stuff. That's mullet stuff right there. My goodness. And on top of that, I know a lot of people have said, put a skinnier tire on the front. I can't. That would look more coopy, but I'm definitely more happy with the more spidery. He's so spidery. Yet another one that I could just drive it all day. Let's see if we can try a different camera angle for coming over here. Kind of cut them off a little bit coming over the top. Got to steer inside this. Then we get a nice mullet escape there. So ordinarily what happens, I think this is the stuff about mullet. Most people, it's just exit, right? It's that departure. It isn't really the departure. I would say that the clearance is the least of it. It's the way the rig behaves, because that weight transfer. The front axle is trying to roll weight back. That the weight is trying to roll to the back axle. But because of the axles are at different heights, basically, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know the science enough. What I do know is that it is hyper resistant to that doodlebug action. The front end over transferring weight to the rear. It just won't do it. So this translates instead to what seems like an unnatural level of forward drive. Oh, it's just a spider. It's a spider. Oh man, that right there is mullet stuff. That front, not only did that front not lift, but there was genuinely a moment of a feeling where it felt like, despite the fact that we were ascending, the front got heavier. There is an incredible amount of stability and drive. And any issues I thought I might have had with the skid not being forward enough, gone. I'm basically steady state climbing through these. Oh, I don't know if I can express how good the quads are doing. Like, we saw that side hill. I'm trying to do some stupid stuff here. A little bit back, a little bit forward, there we go. I'm gonna try to come across this. Ooh, got a little grill in. Try to come across this, right? No, that rear tire is way too augered in. Swing it around, up over that. That drive right there. And then there's mullet. That little bit right there was perfect. That's all of the little bits collaborating together to give us, can I see myself in that? No, aiming too high. Just coming together to do all of the things. Again, the absolute beauty of an Amazon bundle of consonants chassis, which is why I tell people, if you want to build your own rig, and when I say build, I mean a build, like something like this, where we had to make a lot of concessions and allowances and modifications to get that body on there, you're going to have to carve something up. And if you don't feel like you're ready to take a flat piece of material and cut out your own rails, or design your own rails and send them out to be cut, which is going to be more expensive, and the other will be more time consuming, you get yourself some Amazon rails or some AliExpress rails and you just cut them up. Because you can get a set of rails for, these were $37 or something, because you get all the different levels, all the variety packs of what the rails come with. Like, is it a full kit? Does it have a gearbox? Does it only come with a skid? Does it just come with a bunch of spacers? I know that on many of them you can order just rails and put all your own stuff in it. This right here, as stable as anyone that has ever crossed yellows right there. We didn't get quite as low as maybe we could have. Let's come over the top here. Squeeze through here. Come around. I just saw it. Did the camera catch it? Let's see if I can pull it right there. See that right there? You see a little dark shape? That's the heat sink from the speed control. Anytime you direct wire a Rhino, Crawlmaster V3, any of that style AM32, the whatever tape that they use to retain the heatsink will weaken and fall off. That's why I have a big roll of heatsink tape in the workshop, and I think every single one I've had to tape back on, because it gets the heat from that soldering iron and it goes, yeah, I'm done, and just falls off. I have one rig here still running. It might be Zabazu, is running, and has not had a heatsink on it since the very, very beginning, and it's never been a problem. So I don't even know. I'm not 100% sure how much that heatsink is actually doing. That one's not doing anything. It's sitting over there on the ground. And I feel this point. Let me see where it is on the trigger. Yeah, there's some dead band at the bottom of the throttle. I wanted to get as low on the entry as I could. Spider. Is his name becoming Spider? He looks like the ZZ Top Eliminator, but he drives like an absolute spider. It's crazy. Now I'm questioning myself, did I ever calibrate the speed control at all? There's a good chance that I didn't. Oh, that drive though. That drive though. How? And actually, it would appear that I have calibrated it, because I just recalibrated it and it feels pretty much exactly the same. So what I did, this is a Rhino V40 paired with a Secure 1800. So I did something that I have to think that I've never done before, which is we've dialed in some, look at that. Usually the curve goes the other way. Like, we've got the throttle curve upside down. It feels kind of okay. Yeah, real smooth right there. Oh, yeah, buddy. I was looking down at the controller and, oh, do the thing. He's so spidery. He's so spidery. There's that mullet ability. Little bit of a little pop there. Well, I might have dialed in a little too much. Now he's feeling real snappy. I can still maintain. I need to do that again, because I need to see. I need to see what the what throttle percent, like where am I on my trigger pull? Okay. Because I don't want a bunch of the trigger that I'm not using. No, it's fine. It's fine. If we actually pay attention to what we're doing, we can do the thing that we want to do. Yeah, reverse feels good. That feels good. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, okay. Yeah, whatever those numbers were that were up on screen, pretty good. I might go 1 or 2% either way on like the first 3 points of that throttle curve. Oh, that circle though. Wait, no, we need to do a straight cut. Get that pull over from the mullet. I mean, I have no complaints, no notes. Ordinarily, would my choice be to go with something a little bit lower KV? Probably like a 1400 in this. And I realized, yes, I could I could put the 52 tooth spur on it and go down a tooth. Maybe that's where we'll end up. 2 tooth up on the spur, 1 tooth down on the pinions is a change of about 5 teeth, which will be a change of, where are we at? It's gonna be about 10%. Take the overall speed down about 10%. Does that sound right? Because that would be 65, and currently now we have 55. Yeah, that's like 15%. About 15% slower. We can get right there. I'm just so spoiled that I want it even lower. I want the ultra fine resolution when, as you can see, like what have we sacrificed, really? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And on top of that, it looks so good. It can't just be me, right? Like, this isn't just my own personal bias. I'm looking around, I'm trying to think, do I even want to do another obstacle, or do I just want to ride this high out for the rest of the day? You know what? There are instances where all I want to do is just keep driving for the rest of the day. There we go. And then can we zoom in a little bit more? Yeah, we get a little bit right about there. It did so good. It did so good. And it makes me feel so much better about going through all the work to build those Rover quads, because they're as close to perfect as I can imagine. I don't see any glaring issues with the suspension, with the weight distribution, with the geometry, with anything. I guess perfection is unattainable. I would never say that, but in turn of a trite phrase, practice makes perfect. I would say we're somewhere near there. I've built a couple rock crawlers in my time here on the internet, ladies and gentlemen, and lo and behold, the blind squirrel, a nut and all. I feel like maybe I'm getting a little bit better at it. We built to a body yet again. We've built to a body. It's what we do. It's what we do. We build to a body. And I have no complaints about how this is done at all. At all. Someone's going to have something to point out to me, and I will probably go, don't! And then initiate that change. But there's the part of me that goes, put some 2660s or 2661s on there. That part is getting weaker and weaker and weaker, because I can't complain about how any of the componentry performed here. It did much better than I could have anticipated, and there's nothing wrong with that I can think of. So we're going to take this opportunity. I've just been staring at it over there. I wish there was a beam of sun hitting it, and then I would be even happier. But the sun is hitting me directly in the face. So I and Eliminator, the spidery boy, will take this opportunity to thank you so much for watching us. Invite you to tune in for whatever we have next. Take a little time to drop a like and comment below. Tune in for whatever comes next. Did I already say that? I'm lost in the sauce. In between now and when we meet again, please one and all do your very best to have a good one, everybody. I will add a little bit of a note. I'm sure the microphone at one point picked it up. About just over a quarter of a mile away, there's a little mini plant over there, and there's an excavator with a bucket that looks like a basket, picking up rocks, shaking the dirt off, and dropping them in and just crushing them into oblivion. And it makes all of us here sad, because they could give us those rocks, and we would put them to use. But instead, they crush them into riprap and pour them in a hole. The circle of life, I guess. I don't know. Oh, there went another big it fills me with sadness. The performance of this did not fill me with sadness. Seeing you all here on a daily or near daily basis also fills me with a sort of glee. The opposite, it's helping to it's a vodka and Red Bull, helping to cancel out the feeling of all those rocks being smashed into oblivion. So thank you for that, everybody. And I will see you in the next one. Add to that the fact that, and we noticed this on the drive back after the outro there, I think you can see it fairly well. Look at the attitude of that screw and the attitude of that screw. Somebody urgently needs to come out with alloy or brass, alloy preferably, because we're going to be running them in the rear, C-hubs for the element portal, because, does it look better from this side? Look at the angle of that. We got to take the body off so we can see it better. The short of the long of it is that the C-hubs keep clocking themselves. See, we have more angle on that one and less angle on that one. Yeah, you can see it right there. This one is definitely down more. Look at this guy dropping down. So no matter how, and you'll notice I lock nutted them. No matter how tight you tighten them and when you lock them, they still rotate. So that would explain why, I mean, as soon as that rotates, the rear axle, now this is towed out. Because the more it rotates, the more it's going to tow out, because it's changing the length of that. Well, the length of this doesn't change. It's changing the required length of that. So that is not, yeah, not a lick of temperature in the motor or the ESC. And there's that guy. This stuff, it just it just wipes off. Like, what's it gonna do? Yeah, element. You could have just made a rear axle instead of cloning the front axle, because this, it doesn't work great. It doesn't work great. I neglected to mention before because I'd already forgotten it. That thing clocked once before. I don't remember if it was this side or the other side, but it clocked, and it has clocked again. It has moved like one click on the little flutes. This was a problem in element axles in the front, which is why this one has a regular black front housing, but it has the factory team hard. They don't, are they lock nutted? Of course they are. They're much more resistant to slipping. This is all of the regular black plastics. So we're either going to need factory team, or we're going to need alloy, or we're going to need brass. But there has to be something done to those C-hubs, otherwise they're just going to keep clocking on people no matter how much you tighten them down. These are tightened down and lock nutted, and I thought that would stop the rotation, and they rotated anyway. And then it's going to make your steering go all weird. That doesn't take away with how well this thing did. It doesn't even begin to take away from how well this thing did. So there's just that. I needed to share with all of you that every silver lining does indeed come fitted to a cloud.